Hey there and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to talk about nutrition coaching certifications, aka health coaching certifications, or whatever you want to call them, from the perspective of a registered dietitian. There are some things that I think you should know whether you are a dietitian who is considering getting a coaching certification, or you're just someone who is a non-RD looking to go this route as well. You may be surprised at some of my thoughts as a dietitian who has personally worked in the health coaching industry for the last 4 years or so. Disclaimer that I am just one dietitian and this is my opinion alone. My opinion does not represent other dietitians necessarily, and I think you might be surprised to hear some of my thoughts and opinions on it, but I think you'll also learn something from this video, so definitely stick around for the whole thing. There is a big difference between health coaching and health coaches and dietitians and medical nutrition therapy. If you want a detailed explanation of this, then definitely check out one of my older videos that explains the difference between the two. I do definitely think that there are some people out there that use and abuse this title of health coaching to do things that they aren't supposed to do, and by no means am I approving of that. I definitely don't. So I just want to give that as like a disclaimer that I am not by any means justifying or saying that health coaches should do whatever they want. There are some differences between our roles, but I think that health coaches and dietitians hopefully one day can work together in harmony. And here is how I can kind of explain the difference for those of you who are like, what the heck are you talking about, Katie? I have no idea the difference between a health coach and a dietitian. When planning this video, this is the best analogy that I could come up with. When you go to a dentist's office, there is likely a dentist there, and there are dental hygienists who help the dentist. And with general questions about your teeth, you might be comfortable going to the dental hygienists and not going to the dentist themselves, because they can answer general questions about teeth health and stuff like that, right? But when it comes to having an actual cavity, needing a diagnosis that relates to teeth and your gums, or something like gingivitis, you would probably go to your dentists. That's how I see health coaches and dietitians working together in the future, is that health coaches are there for the general health and wellness advice. They are using motivational interviewing in order to help people set goals that relate to health and wellness and exercise and things like that, but they are not diagnosing and they are not doing anything that's advanced, that's medical nutrition therapy. And dietitians are probably doing a mix of both. They can be doing health coaching and different stuff like that, but they are also working on stuff that requires that medical background, such as eating disorders, such as diabetes, heart health, heart disease, kidney disease, stuff like that. So not to say that a dietitian only does the medical side of things. I think, again, they can do both, but that is where I can see us living in harmony if we can learn to work together someday, is the health coaches working on the more basic goal-oriented stuff and dietitians working on stuff that may take more advanced training, like an individual who is struggling with orthorexia or another type of eating disorder, or stuff beyond that. Now, I know this may be an unpopular opinion, but that is my spiel before I get into this topic, because I feel like if I don't, then I might have some people misunderstanding what I'm saying in this video. I am not saying skip a degree. I am not saying this is a runaround for people who are too lazy to become a dietitian. It is simply that they are two totally different things, and I think we can both work in harmony. Okay, so let's get into the actual coaching certification itself and what I think about health coaching certifications in general. It might be a surprise, but I truly love coaching certifications simply because they are focused on the behavioral and motivational aspect. So if you've ever heard of motivational interviewing, a lot of times coaching certifications center around this. And motivational interviewing has been used in the past for things like smoking cessation or quitting smoking, and things like quitting alcohol. So they have been used in the past to quit bad habits and create better habits. And here is the thing, and this is coming from someone who is a dietitian. I absolutely love what I do, and I love the advanced nutrition science and knowing all of that and being able to use that knowledge to help my clientele. But Here is the thing that I find. I do not find myself using all the crazy nutrition science day in and day out. What I find myself most actively using is motivational interviewing and just different kind of tactics to help my client understand what habits and what routines maybe aren't doing them any favors and how they could gently, slowly reach better habits. I know that sounds simple, and for some people that may be like, oh, well, I want the nutrition science, I want the crazy stuff. That's perfectly fine. But for the average person, I think that we underestimate the power of good habits and the power of just finding the internal motivations that we need to actually make our goals happen. So whether it's exercise, whether it's nutrition, whether it's getting to a certain weight or getting muscle mass, any of those things require habits. There is so much to be said about the simple stuff and thinking like a beginner and not overthinking things. This is what I see so often in the nutrition space and even the fitness space. Well, what time should I work out to optimize my fat burning? When really they should just be exercising consistently. Or what food is the lowest in glycemic index? When really they should just be first focusing on having fruits and veggies in general. They haven't even gotten that far and they're focused on these really nuanced topics that is totally fine to get into if that's your cup of tea. But for the average person, it's really not the rocket science that you need to be focused on. It's the basics. And a lot of people don't like hearing that, but that is just my 2 cents. And that is why I love coaching certifications, because the focus is on that. And the focus is on getting your brain away from teaching your clients the crazy stuff and focus in on the stuff that actually helps them in day-to-day life. It's a beautiful thing. And speaking of which, right now I am taking Precision Nutrition's coaching certification and I absolutely love it. I'm on chapter 6 right now and I just feel so grateful for them for kind of bringing me back to the basics. I know that people probably are curious, why would you ever need a coaching certification as a dietitian? But I think a lot of us dietitians would benefit from coming back to the core foundation of how to build healthy habits. The next kind of honest and transparent thought that I have about coaching certifications, because honestly, a lot of people ask me this question, is like, okay, what if I don't want to be a registered dietitian? Can I just skip the degree and the internship and all that stuff and do health coaching instead of becoming a registered dietitian? And the answer is you can absolutely do that, but you're not going to be doing the same things as a health coach versus a registered dietitian. So again, a registered dietitian, for example, can provide meal plans. They can provide prescriptive advice to someone who has diabetes on how to control their blood sugar. They can help someone who has hormone imbalances balance out their hormones using nutrition. That is medical nutrition therapy. But as a health coach, you are focusing again on helping people build healthy habits around basic nutrition principles. So think the USDA guidelines, like building a healthy plate or finding healthy things in the grocery store and how to shop more productively, or something like putting out fruit on your table so you always see it, and that habit hacking kind of reminds you to have more fruits and vegetables. Those are things that are within the scope of practice of a health coach, but no, you cannot provide detailed meal plans. You cannot create prescriptive advice for someone who has a hormone disorder. You cannot treat someone with an eating disorder or orthorexia or anything like that. Those are all outside your scope of practice. So if you want to work with people on meal plans, on detailed things, on advanced things such as hormone health or eating disorders, you are going to have to do the work and go to become a registered dietitian. I know that may sound harsh. I'm really not trying to sound mean, but I do think that there is that big difference that a lot of people get confused, and that they think they're doing the right thing and they're actually not. So it's something that I encourage you to look into further if you are unsure of what you want to do in the future. But that is my best advice. If you have any further questions about this, I know it's confusing. Let me know in the comment section below if I can answer any questions, and maybe I can do a follow-up Q&A to this video, because I do kind of feel like I'm all over the place in this video, and I apologize for that. One more thing that I will leave you with on this particular tip or bit of advice is, think of it this way. If you were a doctor, you would be comfortable prescribing medication to a patient to heal X or Y, say blood pressure. But if you're someone that is not a licensed physician, you do not have the credentialing to prescribe any type of medication to someone. So think of it in the same way. I know people think, oh, it's just a diet, it's just food. But really, there is a lot of nuance to food. And not only that, there's a lot of psychology to things like prescribing someone a certain way of eating. And what health coaches can often run into is, if they're giving prescriptive advice, they could be inadvertently giving someone an eating disorder and not realizing it, and not realizing that they're doing harm. So there is an important distinction between someone who can prescribe and someone who cannot. And I think that although it's a growing field, and I think people are like, oh, well, like dietitians just teach cooking advice. I think it's hopefully going to be more known in the future. And that's kind of the purpose of me creating this video too, is that I just want to share more about this topic, because I know it's such a confusing thing for both the public and for people who are interested in becoming either dietitians or health coaches. And my last thoughts on coaching certifications is that I think they can be a super huge companion to being a registered dietitian. I know you may think, okay, I'm a dietitian, like I went to 6 years of schooling plus an internship. Trust me, I know all about nutrition. I do not need more education on it. But here's the thing. One, I will say that oftentimes, and most of the time, coaching certifications will give you continuing education as a registered dietitian. So as a registered dietitian, you need 75 CEUs every 5 years. So you're going to need to do the continuing ed anyway. And oftentimes certifications do this for you and give you a pretty decent chunk of those continuing education hours knocked out in one single program, versus doing 1 hour, modules here and there to get a 1 CEU. As I mentioned earlier, I am doing Precision Nutrition's certification, and I cannot remember how many CEUs it is, but I will leave it in this bottom corner right here so you can check it out too. And I also have a link to their program if you're interested in becoming a nutrition coach using Precision Nutrition's certification program. They have a wonderful program, and they also have lots of RDs that are in the program as well. And what I also appreciate about Precision Nutrition is that they are focused on like the nutrition and fitness combination, which, as you probably know if you follow me here or on Instagram, I love that combo. I am a hugely passionate personal trainer, and I also love nutrition. And oftentimes when you're interested in one, you're interested in the other. So it's a good combo, and I highly recommend their program. Again, you can use my link below if you would like to join as well. I think they really have educated individuals behind their certification. And I'm not going to lie, I kind of wish Dietetics was as organized and as concise and clear as their program has been for me, because in my experience, I feel like our profession could use a lot of work in like our online software and our platform. That's just coming from someone who is kind of a tech nerd when it comes to software, but I'm going to do a full detailed review of the program once I am done with the whole program, but I didn't want to jump the gun. But I can confidently say that I love their program so far, and I'm excited to complete it to be able to share with you my honest thoughts in the future. All right, so I know this video was a longer one, but I really wanted to go into detail of what exactly my thoughts were on health coaching certifications and what you should know if you're interested in getting one. There's a lot of confusion around this topic, as we mentioned, but I would love to answer any questions that you have in the comment section below, and potentially do a follow-up if you have more questions on this topic. If you enjoyed this video, then I think you'll definitely like this one right here, so click it to continue hanging out with me today.